Culture Crew. Finding the terrible, so you don't have to. Welcome to Bad Culture Crew, the premier source for the terrible. We're so glad you've joined our journey into this week's best of the worst media. Please take a moment to get comfortable, grab your favorite alcoholic beverage, and prepare for some hilarious fucking bad. This is Bad Culture Crew. Finding the terrible, so you don't have to. Presenting your hosts, Austin Daniels and Steve Nevels.
Thank you so much, Wendy. This is the Bad Culture Crew. We do find the terrible, so you don't have to. My name is Austin Daniels. I'm sitting alongside Golden Retriever smuggler Steve Nevels. How are you, Steve?
Well, you know how difficult it is to smuggle a dog of that size up your ass?
Okay.
It's a very difficult process. You have to lube the dog up in these very... And sometimes, anuses can be very sensitive to different lubrications.
Sometimes.
So you have to make sure that you get either the water-based or the oil-based. There's a very strong difference between the two. And with a golden retriever, I find that the best thing that you can do is put the water-based on it, because you see, that way they shake themselves out. And the way they fit up there real nice and easy. Because when you put the oil base on this golden retriever, the oil tends to soak into the skin, you see? And then the dog just gets very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So it's not the rectal insertion that's uncomfortable for the dog. It's the lubricant
now
that you've got on it.
How do you feed this dog? Like, do you feed it naturally, or do you just get it really fat?
Well, no, the way that you feed this dog, obviously, since it's up there, is by way of human centipede, where it just, it eats what I eat.
Yes.
And it just, comes out the dog's ass after.
It's scientifically accurate.
It is. It's completely accurate. And
so anyways, I don't know if you saw this stuff in Australia.
I absolutely did not, and I'm just telling you how I do it.
Well, basically, Johnny Depp and his wife, some woman, I don't know.
This was years ago.
I don't know.
They smuggled these dogs into the country?
No, they were visiting Australia for something, and I guess they said, hey...
Edward Scissorhands, too.
They said, hey, we're not bringing animals, and they did, and they had to go to court in Australia and do this whole thing.
This is like the third time this has happened to Johnny Depp.
Really?
Yeah, because
smuggling dogs
he
everywhere?
goes to places where dogs, you cannot illegally bring your dogs into the country.
Right.
Because they don't have a rabies problem there.
Ah.
You see? So you have to declare your dogs, and the dogs have to be quarantined.
Yes.
So that they can...
see, you know about this. I don't know any of this
yeah,
shit.
this was... I mean, I don't know if this happened again.
He went to court. I think it did happen again. He posted some apology video with his wife.
He took his dogs to wherever they were shooting one of the last Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh, there's gonna be more.
And he got caught, and they were gonna keep the dogs for like 6 months, and he was like, "Oh no, they'll just leave." And so they got back on the private jet and fucking flew back to America. But I guess obviously, like, he keeps getting in trouble for this, and I don't know how he hasn't learned his lesson.
Well, I guess he's sorry now. I don't know. You got to follow the rules.
I'm not sorry. Johnny Depp, let me give you a piece of advice, man.
Here we go.
When going down to shoot Edward Scissorhands Part 2, all you need to do
is
get the water-based lubricant and just take those golden retrievers, shove them right up your ass.
Taken from a true pro.
Take it from me, veteran in the sliding dogs up your ass business. I've never had a problem.
So we got some housekeeping to do. Two things.
There's so much housekeeping.
I
can't keep up with all these houses.
All right, so let's keep these houses in check. One, I'm almost done with the Jason series here. Okay, Friday the 13th series.
It was a challenge for us to watch the entire series.
So what should we announce what we're doing with that?
Oh, you can announce it.
Oh, I'll announce
just
it.
Go ahead and say it.
So this coming Friday, there will be a blog post up that I will be ghostwriting, sort of guest spotting, and on Steve's blog
as I sit back and do nothing,
ranking the Jason series, Friday the 13th series, and my thoughts on it. So you can look forward to that, and then we'll discuss it next week. Secondly, a challenge is coming to fruition again, upcoming soon in the next week or two.
Correct. Next week will be the 1 year anniversary, marking 1 year, 52 consecutive weeks of Bad Culture. The Bad Culture crew turns 1 year old.
Holy crap.
In the 52nd episode next Thursday.
Holy crap.
So we do have our Bad Culture holiday that we need to celebrate. And I'm sure there will be many tidings to come from the celebration.
Yes. So we'll, I guess, how much footage should we get of that? Or should we just do it, talk about it, see what we got going?
Oh, we will talk about it, and there will be some footage.
Okay. We've got cameras.
It'll be great.
We could do that. We might even be able to do it Friday.
Maybe.
And then you stay here, we do the podcast. See?
You know.
That's what I'm thinking.
I guess we'll
so
find
let's
out.
talk about the show.
I had no idea. Oh, shit. We're doing a show today?
We are.
Fuck me with a golden retriever. Okay.
You do that all the time. That's
Go
normal.
ahead.
That's a normal thing to do. Therapy
Go ahead.
session.
I'm ready.
Therapy sesh. Okay, it's my turn. This one is not going to be that funny. This is going to be more of a let's talk about what happened here. What are you looking at?
I'm looking at the therapy sesh topic.
It says rape?
It says rape with a question mark.
Question mark. Yeah.
I'm just as confused.
That's what it says.
I don't see that word on the rundown too often.
It's not very funny.
Unless when I write it.
This is not funny. You never write it. Wendy writes these.
Oh, does she?
We're going to talk about rape because
Is that why the next segment is the challenge? Is it because Wendy wrote that?
Wendy's, slacking this week. It's okay. It's okay.
You lazy bitch.
It's okay. She's already pre-gaming for our big one.
Drunksgiving.
Yeah, movie review. Bad movie review this week. Steve is on it. We talked about Jem and the Holograms. We watched it.
Very excited. We did watch Jem and the Holograms last week, a few days ago.
Yeah.
And boy, do we have a lot to say. Source material or not, I don't know how well this movie would have fared, even as a standalone project. But at the very least, I had a good time watching it. It was a lot of fun.
Next up, the pick a side. It's going to be Justin Bieber versus, what's this guy's name? Something Malone? What'd I say here?
Yeah, Justin Bieber versus
Post Malone.
Post Malone. The guy's first name is Post.
His
middle name is Ma, and his last name is Lone.
Oh, I thought his father's name was like Pre Malone, then Post Malone.
Well, yeah, it could be.
All right, that's like because the mom is named Malone, so he was Pre Malone. They met. Reaction
Post Malone.
Right, yeah, that's how it goes.
Nice. That's how you get a rap name.
You're gonna do the last two segments, Steve. Make it weird this week. Angry masturbator.
We got a guy who was just so furious after he masturbates that he has to go out and do these heinous things, and we're gonna talk about in the Make It Weird segment. Some people get mad when they fucking jerk it. I don't understand, but
we'll get to the bottom of it.
We'll solve it.
And Steve, you'll close the show by talking about the student loan crisis and the big banks and everything.
Not to get
Wall Street.
Not to get too personal or too far into it, but there is a fucking rat bastard piece of shit out there that this article was brought to my attention by my brother. He sent it to me. That
which brother? Your older brother?
My older brother, John. He sent me this this article that really fucking pissed me off to no end, and it's about this kid who took out this college loan and did not take it out for educational purposes. We do have a major student loan crisis that directly impacts me in my life. That like I said, not gonna get too far into that part of it, but I do want to bring to light what a world we live in where this fucking piece of shit just takes out an educational loan and does this craziness with it. But we'll talk all about that in the last word.
We certainly will. But before we do all that, it's time for the Bad Culture Commentary.
Culture Commentary.
It seems now that the internet has almost destroyed itself with the abundance of election news. Sure, the debate between Hill Dog and Bernie happened last week, but in hindsight, maybe Hillary is right. Nobody cares anymore. The saturation of media nowadays is explosive enough that viewers can determine what the candidates will say before they'll even say their statements. So because of this, we turned our attention to Michael Buble. He doesn't know how to eat corn. Have you seen this picture? Michael Buble was hanging out in Disneyland this past week, and somebody snapped a pic of him eating corn on the cob like it was a popsicle. The internet had a field day with this one, from phallic jokes to just being flat out bewildered as to why somebody would eat corn in such a strange manner. Michael responded cheerfully, though, by saying, "This is vegetable harassment. What I do with my cob is nobody's business." Not that funny, really, but at least the sentiment is there. He did spell cob incorrectly, so there's that. I don't know. That's my bad culture commentary.
I'm looking at the picture right now.
Yeah, right.
And I don't quite understand how a person and a human being.
Right.
How are you going to eat that?
I don't know.
Like, is he going to deep throat it and fit the whole thing in his mouth as he chows down on it?
I don't know. That's what everybody's trying to
This
figure out.
makes little to no sense to me.
It's also kind of gay, right, to eat corn that way?
It's kind of gay, but I mean, Michael Buble, maybe that's what he likes.
Maybe.
And I'm not here to judge that.
He's so used
I'm
to
just
that.
looking at it from a food perspective. Look, he may end up choking on this.
Oh, how else would you? Because corn
How else would you eat this?
How else would you? Like, how else would you not choke on that? Like, what was his game plan going in?
That's what I mean. And second of all,
Was he eating the-
Where do you get just a corn on the cob at Disneyland?
That is also weird. Like,
Where
people
did he
walking
go
around.
to like the corn on the cob stand and was like, one corn on the cob, please?
Now is he just? How is he holding it? Hold on.
He's holding it like a dick. I mean, he's got the base, and he's just kind of
He's
holding
got
it.
this like napkin here.
Yeah,
thing.
he's holding
Okay.
it like a cheeseburger, like appropriately, like you would a cheeseburger.
So he's eating it in the cool style way. That's the cool way. You don't want the cool
Right.
look.
But I'm
That
just
doesn't
saying,
look
like,
that cool.
once you eat those first, like, several kernels from the top, like, when you get it between the cheeks, and you eat all the kernels off, where do you go from
Is
there?
he eating the center?
You can't, is he going to eat the core? You can't eat the core.
Hey, I know people eat the apple core.
That's fucking bizarre. That's
People
so
do it.
weird.
People do it. But I don't know how you'd eat that. I don't know how you take down that. You have to be like fucking Joey Chestnut.
You gotta be super hungry, and you have to be super desperate to have to take down a corn a cob like that. But I just don't understand. my biggest question, it's not even about how he's eating it.
Right.
It's just in Disneyland. Where did you get that?
I don't know because he's eating it like a churro.
Yeah, maybe it is a churro. Maybe he's punking us all.
Now-
and maybe there's it's just like an ice cream. There's an ice cream cone behind the corn on the cob.
I don't think
And
so.
he's just eating that.
I don't think so.
I don't know, dude. It's tough. You can Photoshop anything these days.
Corn on the cob is good though. I will say that.
I don't
wanna
like
be
corn
the-
on the cob.
You don't like corn
I'm
on the
not a
cob?
big fan.
What's your
No.
deal with corn on the cob? It's not green.
I just don't like corn.
You like corn,
No,
but corn on the cob,
it's too
man.
corny for me.
Oh,
It's just
that was whew, okay.
That's
Wow.
not a joke. That's serious.
What do you
Tastes
vegetable
too
fan?
corny. What?
Well, it's corn. What is it supposed to taste like?
It's supposed to taste like a pizza, like everything's supposed to taste.
That'd be interesting. Hey, discovered this by the way. I bought. We were talking about this a while ago, like reheating pizza. I can't do that anymore. It's over.
How do you reheat it?
Well, yeah, I should have
In the oven, right?
Yeah, I should have. No, I didn't.
See, if you don't reheat it in the oven, you're fucked.
Yeah. I tried
Michael
it.
Buble reheats his corn on the cob in the oven. You see?
You can reheat corn on the cob in the oven and be fine.
Oh yeah, sure. That's what I'm
Definitely.
saying. Like, but
Totally
you
do that.
put it in the microwave, you're done for.
Now, see, when I was a kid, there was always like a challenge to see how many corn on the cobs you could eat. I think you could reach up to 3. But my friends,
I play a game called How Many Corn on the Cobs Can You Throw in the Trash?
well, that's just a
It's
waste.
all of them.
There's kids
That's the
starving
answer.
everywhere. But there was a guy I know, he ate 11 corn on the cobs at one barbecue.
That's disgusting.
That's pretty
He's a
dope.
disgusting human being.
And he actually, the father of one of our listeners, avid listeners, ate 11 corn on the cobs.
By himself?
Oh, yeah.
He didn't share him?
No.
That's weird. He must have went to Michael Bublé's corn on the cob eating class.
Yeah, I know.
This guy should teach people. Now I would capitalize on this because I want to learn how to eat corn on the cob like this.
I don't want me
I
eating
wish
anything
there-
like that.
like, I
don't
wish
want
it
me
wasn't-
deep throating corn on the cob.
I
That's not my
wish
thing.
it was
That's not my
more. I
style.
wish there was more than just a picture. Like I wish there was a video of him actually engulfing this. I want to see the end result.
Yes.
What happens beyond this picture?
Yeah, what is that? Did he correct? Because it's hard to eat corn on the cob with one hand. You know,
Well, that's what I'm saying.
You gotta
like,
eat it like it's
but
a typewriter.
also,
you know,
Disneyland being a family-friendly park,
Yeah.
they're not going to give you the sharp corn skewers.
you need them.
to-
Those are good.
Those are impervious to eating corn on the
but you
cob.
can still go hand. You know.
Yeah, but then, I mean,
I
he has
do
to
like
go
those.
wash his hands for 10 minutes before he plays the skee ball and before he gets on the Dumbo ride.
Yeah.
I don't even know what's at Disneyland in Anaheim, California.
I'm sure there's a skee ball somewhere.
There's gotta
and there
be.
is Dumbo. Yes.
So, I don't know. I think that people are a little too this goes way back to episode 1, Wait and See. I would wait and see what this gentleman
This is
going.
definitely comparable to all the shootings that went on in
Absolutely.
Baltimore.
To wait and see
The parallels are insane.
what this gentleman is going to do with this corn on the cob once he gets the tip, because it looks like he just likes to eat the tip of it, like like a little,
Just go, man.
reminds himself of a little dick action. But then,
Yeah.
common sense is going to kick in, and he's going to have to turn it sideways at some
Yeah,
point.
because then you just, what are you going to do?
Like I said,
Just wasted.
unless he's going to inhale the whole fucking
Maybe
thing.
he wants those little cornlets. You ever get those smaller ones? Maybe he should have cut it there. You know what I'm saying? You can cut the corn in half.
They probably don't offer that service at Disneyland.
Okay.
I'm surprised they offer corn at all.
What if he brought it with him?
It's possible. Like, what if he had it in his back pocket and he was just walking around? He was like, "All right, well, it's lunchtime.
He got all this butter, this corn out of his jeans.
Do this before Aladdin's magic carpets."
Now he's sweating. Now, here's the weird thing. His response, not that funny. Didn't find it that funny.
His response isn't that funny, but at least
No explanation.
no.
I want an explanation. Like, I get him that he's not angry, but I want an explanation.
Yeah, and let's also remember this man's not a comedian. He's a fucking lounge singer.
Yeah.
So jokes probably aren't his strongest forte,
Neither is eating vegetables.
and neither is eating corn. Yes. So
Anyways, what are you thinking on Bad Culture Crew Productions? Go to Bad Culture Steve. Go to Austin DNLS. Those are their Twitter handles. We put @ before that, but I assumed
course.
you already knew that.
certainly, I'm going to share this picture and tell me what you think.
Yeah.
Obviously,
We need to
there's
know
got to be
what's going on.
something.
What's going on
Something
here?
more to the story that we don't know.
Do you eat corn a different way? Because I don't know.
Yeah, I do eat corn a different way. I don't eat corn.
Okay.
Disgusting.
Steve, let's move on to the show. It's time for the therapy sesh.
Therapy sesh.
All right. So I did that first segment kind of funny because we usually do a little more serious topics in the first one, so I can trade in my serious chips.
You do more serious segments.
Well, I did think the corner of the
I don't
thing
give a
was pretty
sweet one.
I want to talk about the therapy session. This popped up all over the place on Twitter last week, and a lot of folks were attacking our dear friend, Dear Abby.
Dear Abby, yeah, because a lot of the therapy sesh comes from these Dear Abby, Dear Fuck Your Mother, wherever
Miss Manners is
Miss
one.
Manners.
Dear Prudence. Prudence has some good ones.
Dear Prudence, yes.
I like Prudence. Anyways, so basically, in the rundown, we're talking about rape.
Not very funny.
Not very fun. This is not going to be a funny segment, but I wanted to bring this attention because the internet was very
Bring
adamant.
this to your attention.
As the internet was very adamant about what this was about. So here I'm going to read this thing from Dear Abby. And it's still up there. You can check it out on her website.
Yeah, why don't you go check it out?
I am a junior in high school. Dear Abby, I'm a junior in high school. Last year, a guy I have known for 2 years began showing a sexual interest in me.
Wonder how he did that.
I rejected his advances. Last week, he began expressing interest again, letting me know he wanted to have sex. He invited me to study.
Yeah,
Only study.
that's what I do.
But said we might, quote unquote, make out.
Nice.
I was a virgin and had never even kissed anyone before.
Ooh, kiss virgin.
Junior in high school, never kissed anyone before. I had just gotten out of a relationship that I wasn't kissing anybody in.
It looks like it didn't end
That
very well.
didn't end very well, so I liked the attention. I decided I was fine with just kissing, but as soon as I got in his truck, he started to feel me up. He took me to a semi-isolated area, and we ended up having sex.
Shit. Semi-isolated area.
Semi-isolated.
Okay.
Somebody could have been there. It wasn't fun or pleasurable. I told him he was hurting me, but he didn't stop until the third time I said it. He was very upset with me. He only cared about me pleasuring him. I told 2 of my close friends about what happened. One said he had essentially raped me. The other said it doesn't count as rape. Doesn't count.
This one doesn't count.
Because even though I said it hurt, I didn't say it forcefully enough. Abby, what do you think? Uncertain in Illinois. And here's Abby's response that garnered a lot of attention on the social medias. Dear Uncertain, it appears you and that boy had a severe breakdown in communication, which led to you being sexually assaulted. He made no secret that he wanted sex with you and may have interpreted your willingness to kiss him after he took you somewhere other than what was agreed upon as a signal that you were willing, even though you didn't say so. Date rape happens when a fellow ends up coercing or forcing a girl to have sex without her consent. Unless a girl explicitly expresses her willingness to proceed, it is the responsibility of the boy not to proceed. To me, what happened illustrates how important it is for parents to talk to their sons and daughters about responsible behavior, because failure to do so can have lifelong consequences for both. If you haven't already done so, you should tell your parents what happened. However, if you don't feel safe doing that, tell a counselor at school. So what happened with Abby was the line, it appears that you and that boy had a severe breakdown in communication.
Sounds like a breakdown of communication to me.
Which led to you being sexually assaulted.
So she's not disagreeing that this was sexual assault. Is that what she's saying?
she's saying, well, I guess if the girl is describing it in that way, yeah, that's an interesting point. I didn't think about it that way.
So she's agreeing with her that this
So this
was...
is a very contradictory statement in itself.
So what she's saying is, yes, you were sexually assaulted, but there was a breakdown in communication. You're bad. Or both of your bads.
That's an interesting point.
Yeah.
I think... See, here's the thing. I initially was thinking, it's like, well, judging from the girl's initial story, which I've read to everybody in its entirety, the rest of what Abby says sort of makes sense because, you know, if you weren't interested in this boy, why would you go study with him in the first place? And he clearly has, you know, he has sexual interest in you. So why are you spending time with him in the first place? What do you think he's going to do? Is he really going to study? Are you...
So what are you trying to say? Was this girl raped or not?
I'm saying I don't think it was... I don't think it was rape.
I want to say that there was...
I'm saying the guy's an asshole, but I'm saying I don't think it's rape.
I'm going to say that there was a breakdown in communication, just like Abby did. Was this rape in the traditional sense that we're used to hearing people talk about it? Women that are drugged, that are then forcefully, you know, sexually assaulted.
Right.
That doesn't sound like that's what happened here.
No.
It does sound like, you know, she even admits she liked the attention.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that it's right.
I don't think so either.
I'm not saying that it's right. But what I'm
It's
saying
definitely not
is
right,
I
actually.
don't think that this was necessarily rape.
I agree.
And especially because he took her to this place. This wasn't where they were supposed to go. And she didn't like come out and say, what are we doing here? This isn't what we agreed upon.
Right.
I think
need
that,
help.
yeah, I need to get out of this situation. Like, she doesn't mention anything about being fearful.
Or him, like, holding her down.
Yeah, or like really forcing himself on her.
I'm sure he talked her into it. And said,
I'm sure
"Hey,
he
come on."
probably talked her into it, but you know what?
To be honest, that's how everybody gets sex, honestly.
Yeah, in a high school, you know,
That's how I do it.
Being in that
Come
high school
on.
mentality, I'm sure it was a little easy to tell her, look, this is what's going to happen. You start making out a little bit. He starts feeling her up. She's probably unsure about what's going on.
Right.
You know, and when it got to the point of he's like, now he's taking my pants off. That's when she should have been like, okay, we need to stop. Like,
Right.
I don't agree with this. Don't do this. But it doesn't sound like she said that unless she's leaving that out of the narrative.
That's
I
true,
don't know.
but we don't know.
It sounds like there's a lot omitted from this story.
I'm sure. And then we also don't know what was going on the guy's side of it. And I know it sounds weird. I don't think, judging from this, I doubt the guy's a good dude.
I'm sure he's a piece of shit. Like, just based, like, I
Right.
would never do this to somebody.
No.
You know?
Absolutely not. Don't do this to anybody. I'm not justifying his behavior.
Yeah, if we could take anything away from this therapy says, it's don't do what this guy did.
No, don't do that.
Okay?
But I just sat there and I just went, I don't understand why everybody's all about this, because it's like, this is not, to me, as I said, as I looked up rape and I was looking up rape in the dictionary, it's like,
He had to look it up. He had to look up the
wanted to
definition.
make sure I had the definition correct, and I don't look at this as this person was clearly raped. I think, and this is a different argument that people
because
get mad at me
I
about.
don't want people to think that we're making light of the situation. Or
No,
think
we're
like,
not.
and be like, these guys support rape. I'm like,
No.
that's not what we're trying to say here.
No,
What
no.
we're trying to say is it sounds like there's a lot missing from this story, especially a 16 or 17-year-old girl who's a junior in high school.
Cognitive at that age to understand.
Yeah, who has never, from what she says, has never engaged in any sort, had just gotten out of a relationship.
also weird.
She just got out of a relationship but never kissed anybody. That's sounding strange to me.
That's also weird.
And then you go straight from that to, I'll agree to make out with this guy who wanted to fuck me a couple years ago. But you know what? I was in a committed relationship with somebody. Didn't want to kiss him though, but I'd
Right.
kiss this guy.
Right.
That's weird.
Right.
That's another bizarre thing. It's just like there are things in the story that don't quite make sense to me.
Now, here's the thing. People are going to get mad at me, but I don't care.
I'm already mad at you.
There is a point where you have to go, am I putting myself in situations which are going to get me into some trouble or some really dubious circumstances? And I feel like this girl had a lot of options that she didn't have to be here.
Yeah,
she
now,
didn't have to study with the guy.
You're going to get a lot of flack from mainly like people who say, look, it's it's guys' responsibility to act like a gentleman.
Absolutely.
And I agree with that.
Absolutely. But also I'm saying is, hey, if you're going to walk home from a bar at 3 a.m.
by yourself,
8 blocks in the middle of the night,
you
maybe
might
get a cab.
You might want to be a little more careful.
Or find a gentleman.
Because there are a lot of fucking dickbags out there.
Now, there was a story, I want to say it was about 7 months ago. Woman, she was a dentist, I believe, and she was like, hey, husband, and I have like 2 kids. She called
Hey,
him
husband.
That's what she said. She's like, hey, husband. His name was Husband. And she was like, I'm going to go out and party with some of my girlfriends. And he was like, okay. She winds up hooking up with this like gang guy at this club and goes back to his apartment.
Nice.
Winds up dead on drug overdose. And I'm like,
shit.
What situation were you put in? I mean, I've gone out many times and I haven't been like, wow, I really somehow wound up here on drug overdose.
I think only one time that happened to you.
And I'm just sitting there.
It's just that one occasion. It was just that one occasion.
You know what I'm saying? But it's just like, you have to understand, it's like, these are things that don't make sense. My dad always told me, it's like, hey, if you're at a bar and there's a whole bunch of drug deals going around, chances are
you might want to be leaving that bar.
Chances are there's going to be a shooting at that bar.
Sure.
Don't go there anymore. Makes sense. So, and but I will say this, and you made a really good point here. This is where her argument, just alone on Dear Abby, deflates herself, where she goes, it appears that you and that boy had a severe breakdown in communication, which led to you being sexually assaulted. So which is it? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Is it a breakdown communication or is it sexual assault?
So she just left that line out there. Maybe she would have had a stronger opinion. I don't know.
So I don't know. Does it sound like... It sounds like what happens is it turned into sexual assault like midway through it.
Yeah, but how do you know?
How do you know?
But the whole it hurt thing, if you're a virgin, it hurts the first time you had sex, so I've been told.
I mean,
right?
when I lose my virginity, I'm going to let everybody know how bad it hurt.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know when that's going to be, but I'm just saying maybe by my 40th birthday, I'll be able to tell you.
Right.
But I just don't,
Steve Carell.
In the end, I'm going to go with the less popular and less favorable answer and just say, I don't, by the standard definition that people look at in society, I don't feel like this was rape.
I don't.
I don't. And
I'm not to hate on this girl. I do feel bad for her. She made a mistake, and I think she knows it. I hope she gets whatever help from the counselor or her parents she needs. And that guy,
guy needs some fucking help too.
He needs some help,
that moron.
But I don't think he needs to be in jail. I think he needs to be told. It's like, hey man, you can't be, being an asshole and stuff like that, because this is the life you're going to lead.
Give him after school detention for like a week.
But he's also 16, 17. I mean, all kids, I'm not saying boys will be boys. All kids are fucking horny at 16, 17. And also,
this is definitely not a boys will be boys situation. No. This guy was a fucking idiot, and he was a dickbag, and he probably had a Letterman jacket on the whole time because, fuck you people with Letterman jackets.
She was like, leave the jacket.
Leave the jacket on.
But anyways, what do you think? Get on Bad Culture Crew. Tell us why we're wrong. Tell us why the internet was so one-sided in this. I don't think it's as black and white as that. Steve, let's move on with the show.
Yeah, I think some people need to just be more aware of the situations that they put themselves in.
Let's get the funny back of the show.
Guess what? We watched Jem and the Holograms this week. We're going to talk about It's the Bad Movie Review.
Bad movie review.
On a better note,
I feel bad because you had to transition from that. Girl gets raped, Jem and the Holograms.
But see how seamless it was, though. Speaking of rape, I feel like my eyes were raped earlier this week.
There was a joke. There was a joke where, this guy was on, like, this comedian gets up there. He's like, "Hey man, we're on Xbox. I totally raped you in Madden." It's like, "Yeah, man." And then it's like, I think we should stop using that term around there, because it's like, I'm sure if you went up to a rape victim and said, "Hey, how did it feel?" It's like, kind of like losing to your bro in Madden.
Yeah, well, that's kind of how it feels.
They would never say that. I was like, that's a good joke. Anyways, yeah, Jem.
Anyway, here we are, Jem with the Holograms. 2015 American musical fantasy drama. That's what it's categorized as.
Musical fantasy drama where there are dragons in this movie?
Starring Aubrey Peoples as the title character. Right. It was loosely based, and I use this extremely loosely, but they need to correct this on Wikipedia. Extremely loosely based on the 1980s animated cartoon Jem and the Holograms by Christy Marks. The film was done by Hasbro Studios. I think it's the same people that do G.I. Joe.
Yep.
And very oddly enough, Blumhouse Productions, which Jason Blum, who produces a lot of, if you're familiar with that name, does a lot of new age horror movies like Insidious and Sinister. Like these really...
It makes sense, though.
Yeah, so
this was scary.
This was pretty horrifying. And directed by John M. Chu. We're familiar with John M. Chu. I am not. But anyway, Jem and the Holograms was theatrically released back in October of last year, 2015. It was made for $5 million, which, when you think about it, for a major Hollywood release, is a really low budget.
Really low, yes.
And grossed $2.3 million.
Made half its dough
during its run.
Right.
It was only in theaters for about 3 weeks. That's how long it made it before they went, this is a turd, abandoned ship. They just fucking sunk it, and it was released on home video back in
surprised why they didn't sit on
January.
this more, you know?
Well, I mean, how much longer do you want to sit on a fucking movie based on an 80s cartoon? You know? There had already been, 3 G.I. Joe movies? It was time to get moving.
All right.
Anyway, the story revolves around Jem, who is this young girl, and I say young girl, I guess
18 in the movie.
In the movie, she says she's 18. She looks like she's 15. I don't know, it's weird.
In real life, she's 22.
But anyway, I'm not going to talk too much about what the cartoon was. Basically, the cartoon was about this girl named Jem who had this rock band called Jem and the Holograms. She had sort of a, what am I trying to think of? Miley Cyrus, Hannah Montana thing going on.
Yeah, she really did.
Where she was a pop star on stage, but then led like this secret, private life where nobody knew who she was. So that's, in the cartoon, it's all about how these people are trying to sabotage her and ruin her career, and there's these rival bands that are trying to bring Jem down because she's too successful. That's the premise of the story.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how far we're stretching here.
Sure.
But anyway,
okay.
The live action movie version that we watched is about this girl named Jem who records this bogus, lame, ridiculous minute acoustic YouTube song about how just don't give up on yourself and be positive. And the next day, one of her sisters uploads it to YouTube, and for some reason, it gets like 10 million hits, and then somebody offers her a record contract.
In this day and age, when YouTube is fucking saturated with everything.
And we just wondered, like, right off the bat, I was like, whoa, back up. Hold on. Stop the story.
You were doing your Ronald McDonald impression for a second.
Yeah, stop the story right there. You're telling me that this mundane girl writes this minute-long mundane song that has no hook, that has no catchy lyrics, that has no catchy rhythm.
Did it even have a chorus?
Doesn't have a chorus. Nothing that people could latch on to.
By the way,
except for
the video was like it was very dark. It was
just shot in her bedroom. It's just her sitting in front of a webcam, strumming 2 chords on an acoustic guitar, going, "Is it when life sucks? Just be better at it." Like, that was the song, and I was like, so this intrigues the nation to the point where every single talk show wants to know, who is this girl? Who is Jem? And
Jimmy Fallon wants to know.
Jimmy Fallon wanted to know.
The Rock wanted to know.
And I'm sitting there going, why?
Yeah, me too.
It doesn't make sense.
Me too.
This already has gaping holes in it.
Yeah.
So anyway, this record producer comes to Jem's house and says, "I'm going to make you a star." And I'm like, okay, this is super bizarre. But she says, well, you're only going to make me a star if my sisters, they're my band, so they have to come with me. And the record executive, she's like, well, you drive a hard bargain, but yeah, I guess we could spend another couple million on that too. Sure.
Can I pause there for a second?
Yeah.
What I don't understand is why she had to take the deal from her specifically. Like, she was getting all this stuff flooded in her inbox, but she's like, this one, that's it. Like,
apparently that was the most successful record label in the country, who had a hard time booking a place called like the Air Float Room or something.
Yeah.
The venue. Not even Starline Records can get that place. And I'm like, it's a fucking hole in the wall. I could book that place.
Yeah, right.
So anyway, they go to Los Angeles, which is like 3 hours from where they live. And there's this whole backstory about how we haven't been to Los Angeles since we were kids. And I'm like, it's 2 hours down. It's not across the country. You guys live 2 hours away.
Right, yeah, exactly.
The overall plot of the story that begins to formulate is Molly Ringwald, who plays the aunt of Jem. I guess she's her aunt.
Yeah, she's the aunt.
She has all these kids
Or
living.
aunt.
She has all these kids living under one roof, and the house gets foreclosed on.
Sure.
I mean, I'm stating that with a question mark because I don't know if that's what
Something
happened.
they're gonna lose the
They're
house.
going to lose the house for some reason. Okay, it's like Happy Gilmore.
Auntie's not working.
Auntie's got
Happy
10
Gilmore makes more sense in this movie.
Yeah. So anyway, Auntie's going to lose the house, and Jem goes, "Don't worry, Auntie Molly Ringwald. I've got this amazing record contract. We're never going to have to worry about money. I'm going to save the house."
Yeah.
And Molly Ringwald goes, "Okay, great. Well, I can go back to Saturday detention now." So they make it to L.A. They start talking about all these shows that they're going to set up and these secret shows. Who is Jem? Like, that's the hook that they're going to run with. It's like, yeah, but who cares? It's the internet. By now, there is already somebody else that has put out a viral video that cares more about than what we saw last week.
Yeah, by the
on
time we
YouTube.
record this show, it's like irrelevant sometimes.
By the
You know, and I
time
feel
the
bad.
movie was done being written, the storyline was irrelevant.
Yeah. By the 3 pages into it, relevant.
So anyway, some shit happens, blah, blah, blah. Jem falls in love with this guy who is like 34.
Who's totally Dr. Luke in her.
Yeah, he's totally, she's Kesha and he's Dr. Luke, and
Yep.
it's totally bizarre.
Yep.
And it's uncomfortable at some parts because,
Oh, yeah.
because the age gap is so big, you just go,
It just looks that way.
I don't want them to end up together. This is disgusting.
We don't know how old he is, but I would not be perving on a 18-year-old if I was above 21, which he clearly looks above 21.
No, he looks like he's 30.
Yeah, he's 28 in real life.
But
he was the boy
anyway-
next door, by the way.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
If anybody remembers that movie. But anyway, Jem has this robot that her...
Pause for a second.
What?
He never just dates anybody his age. He just is somebody way too young or goes after J-Lo, who's in her late 40s.
Dude, I'd go after J-Lo.
Who wouldn't?
Anyway, Jem is carrying around this robot that was built by her father in her backpack. Her father died when she was a young girl, and this robot has never worked. And for some reason, it starts working when they get to L.A. and starts showing them...
Because of reasons.
Because of things and places and, magic. And it starts showing them a map of places that they need to go.
Which is the plot of Star Wars Episode 7.
This looks like...
Spoilers.
Yeah, this is like BB-8
Not really, but...
shooting the map onto the ceiling,
Yeah,
and they
exactly.
go, "Oh my God, this is where we need to go. This is where he's at." So they go to the Santa Monica Pier, where they find, for some reason, underneath this old wooden deck, they find this 3x5 floppy disk that they put into the robot, and then he shows them another piece of the. So it's basically like a scavenger hunt. So and then the guy that's supposed to be watching them, the old guy that is in love with Jem, finds them at the Santa Monica Pier. He forces them to jump into the ocean so that to avoid police capture. And then they all sit underneath a deck and
Wake up a homeless person.
They wake up a homeless person by singing this a cappella song about you don't know what it's like to be us, and we're so much more. We suck at life so much more than you. And then the guy impresses them by actually knowing how to sing too, which it turns into High School Musical for a minute.
Which all of a sudden, it doesn't sound like there's like, a boombox to the left of them. They're just
absolutely
mouthing the
isn't,
lyrics.
and it's
it actually
just-
sounds like they're singing.
It's great.
No.
So that plot line goes on for about 15 or 20 minutes, and then they get tired of writing about that. And we go back to the house thing when Jem is offered a solo contract by Starlight Recording, to which she responds, "Well, what about my sisters?" And the evil record exec's like, "You've got to think about what's right for you. Take all the time you need, but I will need it right now." And so she signs the contract Jem, which is not her legal name.
And we thought like that was going to be.
And
like
I thought that was totally going to play into the story later.
Didn't at all.
They don't care about record contracts in this movie. It doesn't matter.
Just sign your thing is
So anyway,
Stevie N on your
The whole
checks.
reason that she started this thing was so that she could save the house for Auntie Ringwald. And then the sisters get furious with her for cutting them out of the band when she goes, "Guys, look, I'm just doing this to save the house." And they're like, "Save the house? Save it. We're out of here." And she's like, "Good, because you're not part of this anymore." And she's all crying and shit.
And we're sitting there going, why didn't she just have this conversation before she signed it? They were 30 feet away.
I don't understand. They were all sitting 30 feet from her. She could have been like, "Hey, guys, come here. So look, I just got offered this solo contract, okay? I know that we're part of this. We're in this together, but check it out. Let's be real for a sec. We need this money, Okay, and we need to save the house because Molly Ringwald's going to have to go back to detention if we don't save this thing. Then we would have avoided the entire conflict of the story.
Which was a loose term for conflict.
So anyway, so she goes on and performs with these weird these people that are doing this the Cirque du Soleil shit beside her,
exactly.
and she's singing this miserable song.
I think it was the dancer from Sia.
It could have been.
Sia's up there, and then she got that weird dancer.
So anyway, after that, she realizes that she's a piece of shit bitch whore, and she goes to her family's old house in L.A., at which point all of the other cast members just happen to be walking by at the same time.
Like in order. Like first the girls show up, and then all of a sudden Rio shows up, the guy that she likes, and he's like, I'm here too. And then I'm here too. It's like, who else is going to show up?
And then the guy shows up, and I'm like, wait, I'm waiting for Bill Murray to show up in the scene somewhere.
It's just everybody just popping in, you know?
So they figure out...
That was my favorite scene.
They figure out the last... So then we go back to the robot storyline, which was abandoned for a while.
Her sister goes, well, why didn't you just tell us beforehand? We're like, that's what we said 40 minutes ago.
So they say in the movie, this whole thing could have been avoided if... and then they insert the plot hole.
Exactly.
Which was great. I don't see that very often in movies that call themselves out, but this one managed to do it.
It's so true.
So anyway, they find out that the last piece of the puzzle to complete the robot mystery is in Jem's earrings that were taken away from her by the record exec when they first got to L.A., and they're living in her safe now. So they have to go to the building, the record building, and they break into the safe. They get the earrings. There's this long, weird 5-minute segment where the dad talks about, you need to live your dream, which is like...
And I made this weird scavenger hunt for you to find.
I don't understand.
Instead of just telling
he didn't
you stuff.
explain it very well. And then she shows up in the hologram at the end where he's talking to her in the past and her in the present at the same time. It's really bizarre. It's real like fucking Star Trek Into Darkness shit.
Yeah.
Anyway, they go to the venue to play the final show where they're going to reveal who Jem is. And when they get there, obviously the record exec, the evil record exec, she's real pissed and she's upset and she's like, you little bitch, these girls are not part of the band anymore. I own you and blah, blah. And so the guy that's way too old for Jem steps up and says, look, mom, because it's his mom. Yeah. You know, we didn't mention that, but that's
fine.
That's pretty irrelevant to the story. Apparently, when his dad died, because everybody's dad's dead in this movie, he left a will stating that the kid, he gets the record
when ready.
When he feels ready, he becomes the sole owner of the record company.
So if he was 7, he's like, I'm ready.
So he just stepped to her and she was like, I'm ready now. And she was like, but you can't do that. And he's like, I just did. And so she gets thrown out of the venue.
Because that's how law works.
They come out and they play this song that's really terrible. And then this lady walks up to the guy who now owns the record company. And she says, I'm from Rolling Stone. And of course he doesn't say, well, where's your credentials? He goes, oh, cool. How did you know I own this record company?
I've owned it for 10 minutes.
Word on the street is this guy now owns the record company. Anyway, she says, I would like to put these girls on the front cover for reasons. And he says, cool. And she's like, what's their band name? And of course, because we haven't mentioned it one time in the movie, he goes, how about Jem and the Holograms? Because that's the name of the movie. So that's what we were treated to. At the very end of the movie,
we get some post-credits.
There is a post-credit scene where the evil record exec she's like on Skid Row in Los Angeles, where she goes and finds the rival band, the Misfits, whose lead singer is played by actually Kesha.
Right.
And they made her
look, and Kesha's really hot. They made her look really fat.
Yeah, it appears to be set up for a sequel, which I don't know if we will be seeing anytime soon. But just so you know, there's something else in here that was really funny.
Oh, okay.
With John M. Chu.
Oh, yeah. They were talking about...
As of December 30th, John M. Chu was talking about a G.I. Joe Jem and the Holograms crossover
because they want to
movie.
make the Hasbro... Oh, what is it? Mattel or Hasbro? It's Hasbro, right?
It's Hasbro, yeah.
They want to make a Hasbro cinematic universe, which I'm like, sign me up right now.
Oh, here it is. On October 23rd, John M. Chu confirmed his intentions to make a crossover film between Jem and the Holograms with Transformers and G.I. Joe.
Yes.
So if we could make that happen, that would make my day.
Yes. Day one, early release, we're going to that.
So anyway, let's get to the review real
Get to
quick.
the reviews.
Because we've been on this segment forever.
But it was worth going through. That's the whole thing.
It was just so much fun. It was so much fun, and I have to say, for me, timeless terrible.
Wow.
This was hilarious. Hilariously bad in every sense that you could imagine.
Wow.
And I could easily watch this again and again.
I'll be honest here. I was actually teetering on mediocre. I was.
Were you?
And the reason why was because whoever would have thought going into this movie that there'd be any sense of it being good? You know, this movie was doomed to fail for a while. And it didn't identify itself. So I don't think it knew what it wanted to be. So the whole movie's about having an identity crisis when the whole movie is parallel to that whole same.
And I think that's great. I don't think that there's anything better than that.
So I will go with you talking through it, rehashing it, get me excited again. I will go to terrible. I will say it's definitely terrible. And it's funny, but then I look at other vanity, like so weird kind of, not vanity, but all these other, like just, it's basically a bunch of music videos. I mean, that's what you see.
When you get into the meat of it, like that's what it is. It's really terrible music videos.
And to me, it's like, I would rather
go
see Crossroads than that. You know, I like Crossroads better than this.
But that was kind of the same thing. Like they just, it was several different like Britney Spears music videos rolled into like what they tried to constitute as a story.
Yeah.
But this one, there's just, it gets pulled in so many different directions. They abandon storylines for 45 minutes and then come back to them.
Like, oh, we're caring about this now.
Even the plot, even the storylines that they created make little to no sense.
Nope.
I don't know why they had to go on this ridiculous scavenger hunt. I don't understand what this fucking robot was doing.
And I do want to see the Misfits. I really want to see how they're involved. I want to see them like fighting and stuff.
I think that would be really cool.
Yeah.
So it sounds like if they were to ever make a sequel,
They won't.
It would be way closer to what the origin or the source material was, because this follows the source material. Like they did.
They tried.
They pulled
I'll
the
say
names
that.
and they pulled like basically that it was a chick rock band.
Yeah.
And that's about the extent of it.
But they didn't get any like actual people in the movie. That's another weird thing. Like they had no celebrities in it besides. They didn't really have anybody that I could say off the top of my head. Nobody.
No, not at all. But for me, I could easily watch this again. Like I could watch this again tomorrow.
I kind of want to see it again. We'll see it. We'll revisit it, and I'll be like, because I know what's to expect, so I can make jokes and see how it plays in that.
Very fun. Anyway,
great.
What are we watching next month?
Oh yes, certainly, Steve. We are going to watch because we had this popped up in the past month. So we're going to watch Freddy Got Fingered.
Oh boy.
Yeah, because I've seen it before, a long time ago. I haven't seen it quite some time, but remember the guy who got pulled over for having the Freddy...
a few weeks ago we talked about this story. The guy that got pulled over in North Carolina and got arrested for never returning a VHS copy of Freddy Got Fingered from 2002.
Right, so we're going to take that exact copy, plug it into Steve's VHS.
I'm great with that.
Watch this on a 32-inch TV, bubble TV, in a small basement.
It's got to be a CRT.
That's our move. We got a lot of show to do with so little time.
Oh boy.
Steve, we are going to pick a side.
Pick a side.
You know, we always say, we talked about this before, this is going to be a shorter show, not a shorter show.
I told you. This
But
never happened.
We'll breeze through these next two, because this one sucks, because I hate these people. So pick a side this week is Justin Bieber versus Post Malone.
Hell yeah, Post Malone. That's my pick.
So this week,
Got it.
there is this photog of Post Malone. He tours with Justin Bieber. He's some white rapper that you're a big fan of, apparently.
He's my favorite. I got pictures of him all over my walls.
So they were out partying, and there's a photo of Post Malone, which appears to be choking Justin Bieber. And then there was some more updates on it. It's like, well, why was he choking? So the internet's like, oh, are they in a fight? And then there was another photo of Justin Bieber possibly putting a cigarette on Post Malone's arm. This picture went viral. So here's what Post Malone had to say in response to that. He goes, I love Justin. Y'all tripping. LOL. He's my big brother, and we like to roughhouse. Like me and Steve, we love roughhousing.
Now, this is a boys will be boys story. Right here.
We just don't roughhouse around pools because it's clearly stated on the sign.
There's no running and no glass.
That's true.
And no roughhousing.
30 minutes after you eat, you can go in. If
15.
we was fighting someone, would have done something instead of sit around while the Biebs got chokeslammed.
Yeah, sweet.
So then Justin Bieber, they posted another photo where Justin Bieber is jokingly choking Post Malone.
Okay, great.
Satirically. So who knows? As far as I'm concerned, he really hated him. So whose side are you on?
Oh my God.
Pick a side,
Anybody
Bieber
that's
or
against
Post
Justin
Malone.
Bieber, I'm for.
That is my
You
argument.
guy's
too.
a fucking idiot.
That's my argument too.
Especially if Justin Bieber's going to... And he didn't put a cigarette out on him. He just ashed on his head.
Oh.
That's the argument.
Okay.
Justin Bieber ashed on his head. So what did Post Malone do? He choked him like a little bitch.
Even if Bieber didn't do anything and somebody just ran up and randomly choked him, I would be on the side of the guy.
If Bieber exists, choke him.
Yes.
Done. Post Malone, you've got my vote. You're a winner.
Me too.
You're a winner in my book.
Pretty obvious to me.
I don't really care that you don't know how to talk correctly. I enjoy seeing the picture, and I'm going to blow this up, and I'm going to put this on my wall in my bedroom next to my Post Malone picture. I'm going to put this giant picture of Post Malone choking Justin Bieber. And Justin Bieber looks legitimately scared in the picture, too. Like, he looks terrified. Like, this guy could probably rip his head off.
Exactly.
Right from that moment.
Exactly.
He's like, listen, you're just a little 21-year-old punk who's a piece of garbage, who puts out piece of garbage records, and I'm Post Malone, bitch.
Anyways,
Done.
Get on the internet. Pick a side yourself. Are you on the side of Post Malone, which is the right decision, or are you on the side of Justin Bieber, which is the wrong decision?
I will constantly make fun of you for weeks on end if you choose Justin Bieber. So go ahead. But don't believe me, because I will. You will never, your hashtag and your Twitter handle will never see the end of it if you pick Justin Bieber. Anyway,
yes,
get on there, pick a side.
Do it. That's our pick a side this week.
Well, I'm going to move on real quick. Because,
move on real quick.
Yeah, we took a lot of time with Rape and Jem and the Holograms. So we're gonna move on. How about a guy that gets angry after masturbating? We're going to make it weird.
Make it weird.
Got a really great story here.
Yes, this is
from
a good
the
story.
fine state of Florida. This actually took place like 10 minutes from us.
Where did it take place?
This is in Largo, Florida.
Oh, this is right down the street,
This
bro.
is literally like, this is probably his next door neighbors.
I used to work in Largo.
I used to live in Largo. This is probably my old neighbor.
That's where is it? There's a Nielsen company building over in Largo.
Anyway, the title of the article is Florida Man to Cops. Masturbating makes me feel like destroying stuff. So here we go from the Huffington Post. We have a Florida man accused of vandalizing a home in Largo allegedly told police that he was masturbating to loud music when he suddenly felt like going out and destroying stuff. The Largo Police Department got a call Friday about a man smashing a mailbox. Responding officers arrived at the home and found a man later identified as William Timothy Anderson. Wow, very long.
William Timothy Anderson.
William
Those
Timothy.
are all first
hold
names.
on. William Timothy Anderson Thomas.
How many
Four
names?
first names. Shirtless and covered in dirt. The officers also noticed the flattened trailer tire, a broken window, and a real estate sign and a guardian angel were demolished, according to the arrest affidavit. Officials said Thomas admitted to causing the destruction. They claim he told them that he had been listening to too much music and masturbating too much, and he felt like going out and destroying stuff.
Oh, boy.
Police did not note what music Thomas was listening to before the incident. We at Huffington Post suspect that it was Guns N' Roses' Appetite for Destruction simply because it would be so appropriate. The 25-year-old self-pleasurer was taken into Pinellas County Jail, and he was charged with burglary and criminal mischief. He remains behind bars on a $7,000 bond.
That's pretty okay. And then there was a sub-headline that you missed, which was pretty funny.
Oh, a good lawyer will work to get him off.
Yeah, that's good. That was good. That was good. Okay, I like that Huffington Post.
Here's a picture of
There's
the
the
guy.
guy.
That's him.
Okay.
He looks like a fucking weird
Let me
ass.
get it closer. Let me get it closer. Let me see here.
Take it right over there and show the people.
There, see?
There's the guy. That's me.
It's clearly not any of us.
It's clearly me.
Without the glasses. Yeah.
Man, I don't know. I never get so furious while masturbating that I'm like, I need to go punch a hole in the wall.
No, it's usually the opposite. I feel like sedated or like, wow, I'm
I
a
feel
big loser.
sedated.
Or like I'm a loser, you know? Like I'm like,
Well,
I have to
because
do
you
this.
are.
I have to do this. This is the way to get it done, I guess. And then I just fall asleep.
But it doesn't make you want to punch a mailbox, though.
No,
huh?
I've wanted to punch mailboxes before, but not because I masturbated. That's very strange. So if he actually had sex with somebody,
He would probably have killed her.
it's like, man, I gotta go punch stuff. Yeah,
It's like, oh my God, I need to chop your head off right now.
because I just had sex with you.
It's terrible.
That is some weird hormonal shit.
Yeah, I don't know what it does, but I mean, the angriest I've ever got, like, I remember, I'm trying to think, there was a period,
angriest I
there was a
ever got
period of my
after
life where I was, it's probably like my pinnacle peak of like hormonal transition into like adulthood. I was like probably like 16 or 17. Why I think I masturbated so much that I was like ejaculating blood at one point.
Oh my God, you're gross.
Now, see, that is angry masturbating.
Okay, I'll tell you
right
one
there.
more. I'll tell you one thing.
Tell me one story.
This isn't my personal story, but I was golfing with an old friend of mine.
And jerking him off in the
He
cart. Yeah.
was telling me when he was like 12 and really getting into the masturbation scene, right? So he was
It's
like,
a whole scene, people.
he was like, but he didn't grow up with the internet. So he was talking about like, getting those dirty magazines and jerking it and stuff like that. He said he was doing it so much that he got all these like calluses and all this shit on his hands and stuff like that. They were all like beaten up and getting like,
Yeah, I had a friend in high school, different, now we're getting into masturbation stories.
Yeah, sure.
This guy used to take like a lot of Adderall, so, used to do a lot of speed, stuff like that.
Oh, good.
And he took some Adderall and he was jerking it, and he said that he almost had a heart attack at like 16 years old.
Oh my God.
Like he said that he
would you be found like that?
laid there and he was like I couldn't move, my chest was hurting real bad, I was having trouble breathing. He was like,
Did he finish?
I think he did. Like all the while, he's like, no, I've got to get this done. I've got to finish.
You got to get it done.
So, very interesting stories.
Anyways, I know you all love to masturbate because you're all losers and don't have any significant others. So
Tell us what's the most dangerous thing you've done after masturbating or while masturbating, or what emotions you go through. Do you feel like you just need to go out and destroy things after you jerk it?
Steve had the show.
So I was talking earlier at the very beginning of the show during our preview that we were going to be talking about the student loan crisis. I have one particular story that came across our Bad Culture desk here earlier in the week.
It just floated in.
About this one significant piece of fucking garbage, the dregs of society. This is what they do, and this is why we're all in shambles in the student loan front. It's the last word.
The last word.
So we've got an article here from IJReview.com.
An independent journal.
And it is called College Kid Takes Girlfriend on Dream Vacation, and he's shameless about who's paying for it.
Here we go. This got me mad.
Oh, man. Let me just preface this with, I took out student loans back in 2006 to go to college because I wanted to be in the film industry. I wanted to be one of these guys that made films for a living, or at least worked on pictures, worked in television, worked in TV, any way that I could. So I went to college, but I didn't have any money to pay for college because I found out the college was very expensive.
That is right.
And I came from a household that didn't have a lot of money. And, my mom was like, well, if you want to go to college, you got to figure out a way to pay for it. And what better way to pay for it than to have somebody else pay for it? So I signed these letters of promissory notes, and I signed all of these different forms that my financial aid office, and I'm not even going to say what school I went to because it's very I'm embarrassed that I went to this place by the way they treated me and the level of education that I received, and how much money that it ended up costing me, because now my debt has skyrocketed to hundreds of thousands of dollars in student loan debt. I basically could have went to Columbia Law School with how much money I owe, and probably got a much better paying job. But anyway, so this kid, his name is, Brandon Larry.
Oh, I already hate him.
It's his kid's name. So again, two first names.
Brandon Larry.
He went on a trip with his super hot girlfriend to Thailand.
How did he do this? I was not rich in college.
A college student who used $2,500 so he and his girlfriend could fly to Thailand for a trip of a lifetime. Now, the catch is, this kid took out a student loan for $2,500 for books and supplies. And he took that money and paid for this trip. So there is this article that shows here's him holding his financial aid letter and his award. Mm-hmm. And then he went ahead and recorded the entire vacation on GoPros and then uploaded a complete video called How I Spent My Financial Aid Like a Boss.
That's not really like a boss.
This actually isn't like a boss. This is more like somebody who has committed fraud.
Yeah, because in order to be like a boss, you have to fuck a fish's brains out.
Exactly. So there were many observations that people were commenting on all of these pictures in his video, like, so beautiful.
They were beautiful.
Love how great it was.
Did he have a drone too?
You're so right every way that you have made it much easier for me to do what I've always wanted to do. So thank you.
And
then
then inspired people to steal money.
it looks like there was about 2 people that were like, "This is so amazing. That was so cool." And then the comments start getting into, "Isn't this considered fraud?"
I think so.
And then one person writes, "You're a fuck. I work my ass off at school, spending 60 plus hours a week on my schoolwork. I have been denied financial aid, even for just my tuition, so many times, and here you are spending $2,500 on absolute fucking bullshit."
Right.
And then here's another one that somebody had said, you used your financial aid for books, for tickets to another country, and you can't even get approved for financial aid because my dad makes too much money.
Right.
He's not paying for my college. I am. People like this make me upset. People actually want and need that money for education, and you're blowing it on something it wasn't even meant for.
Correct.
So there's plenty of comments like that. Let me just tell you, there is such a massive student loan problem in this fucking country that totally goes unnoticed, because all people talk about when we talk about the Constitution of where we stand as a country with this $1.6 trillion number that we're looking at for financial aid and student loans and student government funded programs, they're not looking at what the real underlying problem is, which is where people get wrapped into these problems of private student loans, which are not federally insured and which people are on the hook for. Just so everybody knows, 44% of the country that has student loans are in default right now, which is absolutely absurd. And the fact that this guy, this fucking loser, because that's what he is. He's a fucking, he's a piece of shit. The fact that this guy,
stupid girlfriend, think he's hot. They're hot shit.
that he would take money that is distributed for the sole purpose of bettering yourself.
Our
by
money, by
getting
the way.
it right. You're taking money that people have to pay in to taxes, and you take a tax-paid vacation on our dime when I'm struggling to buy groceries,
Right.
because my student loan situation is in such shambles that 50% of my paycheck is gone at the end of the month because I can't afford to pay them back. This guy's going to take a trip with this hot chick to this far-off place, a vacation that I could only ever dream of.
Right.
Because
Win the lottery.
you didn't fucking earn it. You didn't work for it. But you took this money.
You stole it, basically.
You stole this money. You robbed the financial aid of America and took this trip. And I think that it's absolutely absurd. I hope that this story, I haven't seen this story in many places.
Me neither.
It's not getting much attention, but I am going to push the fucking shit out of this story.
Love it.
I want to make sure that people know that you're a scumbag, and I want people to push this far enough for people to say, wow, this guy committed fraud, and he needs to pay this money back now. Not when he, and I don't even know like how much longer he has in school. Like the article doesn't reference what he's even studying. You know, it's just he took this money.
Don't care,
that
because he's now made a name for himself where if you're on a resume, it's like, oh, so you're just a huge liar?
You're the guy that took government money and went on vacation with it.
And he thinks he's so cool about it. Like,
thinks
I did
it's
something
awesome.
Really, that's just, to me, there's a lot of layers here. One, that's proof to me, and it's not always, but there's a lot of proof of people gaming the government. You know what I'm saying?
And the fact that you can go on the internet and just flat out tell the world, look what I did. I scammed the country.
Well, that's what's wrong with people now. There's a lot of entitlement, because he's sitting there going, wow, I'm 21 years old. Yeah, I should be able to go to Thailand with my hot girlfriend and get all these GoPro action butt shots of her. Definitely. I
Right.
deserve that because I'm 21. And that is what's wrong with a lot of people our age or just coming out of it, where they think they deserve stuff. This person didn't work for any of it, so he deserves none of it. I'd rather have a guy set aside money aside. How about you set aside that money aside for a ring? You know, set aside a whole bunch of so you can marry a girl. No,
Right.
take money from the government. Go, like, how is that even sexy anymore? That's another thing. Like, why does the girl find it sexy? How
She was like, oh my God, where did you get this money?
I stole it.
Well, I told the government that I needed it for school. We're going to go on vacation instead.
Right. And oh, great. Because I really want to go.
And she's
that
like,
is so,
she's like,
how is that appealing?
Is the smartest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
And I'm like, actually, it's the dumbest thing I ever heard, because you know what? You're going to, if I was the lending holder of this loan, and I saw a story like this, it was like, oh, that's my loan that I gave him
on a private
for
one,
this.
yeah.
I would charge him 100% interest on that
Absolutely.
fucker. Because you know what? There are no restrictions on these private loans, and they can fuck you any which way to Sunday that they want to. They can revoke everything that they said in the promissory note.
Now they have proof.
And now that there's proof that this guy is just out there dilly-dallying, fucking his girlfriend on some remote tropical island while I'm sitting here with a full-time job trying to survive and trying to do right and pay these people back, and this guy's going to go and do something like this. I hope something happens to this guy. I normally don't wish ill will on people, and I'm not saying that I hope that this guy dies or anything.
No.
I just hope that maybe
he learns his lesson.
Yeah, maybe something comes of this where they
because his attitude needs
come
to
back
change.
and say, you know what? That's not what the money was intended for, you moron, and you need to pay us back now. You there is no grace period for this. You don't get to start paying us back 6 months after you graduate because you didn't use the money for school.
Right. You lied to us.
You took out basically a personal loan that you would like that you would go to the bank, get a much higher interest rate for taking, and you went on vacation with it.
Yep.
You're a scumbag.
Yep. And unfortunately, he's not the only one. There's a lot of folks out there that game the system, and it's wrong.
This isn't the only.
I'm not saying
this
everybody's
isn't
going
the
on
only
vacation,
story.
but I know people game the system where they can barely quote unquote afford groceries, but have an iPhone 6s or something.
Of
you know what I'm
course.
saying? I'm like, what? You know?
And this isn't like student loans aren't the only problem. I heard this really ridiculous story a couple weeks ago. Not relevant enough to bring into this topic, but this woman that called into a radio show in Austin, Texas, talking about how she's gaming the welfare system and how she plans on staying on welfare for the rest of her life because why should she have to work when the government gives? And she says that to the public. She's made that publicly known. I am using you, and I don't care because there's nothing you can do about it.
Excuse me. There's no pride anymore.
There's
no
not.
shame anymore.
No, that's what the radio hosts were asking her.
You should be somewhat feeling bad that you're doing this, but I have people go, put on my food stamps.
That's what the radio host said. They said, don't you feel embarrassed that this is how you live your life? You sit around, and she openly admitted, she was like, I sit around and smoke weed with my friends all day, and we just hang out, and I get $1,500 a month. And she's got 3 kids, and they said, well, what kind of example are you setting for your kids? They were like, do you want your kids to live on welfare for their entire lives?
Because it's there, sure.
And she's like, well, I'm not saying that they have to. I'm just saying, like, if it's there and we can, I don't understand why everybody's making a big deal about this. I'm like, I'm making a big deal about this because I bust my fucking ass and get up at 2:00 in the morning and go to work every day for 10 hours. And I have to pay for your groceries, and I can't afford mine.
And there's people that do deserve it, though. I was watching this, like, they're interviewing people. Some people are, like, smoking weed. But there was one person, she was like, she works at some Subway, goes to night school, and does get some EBT food stamps or something like that. And I don't have a problem with that because the girl says, yep, I wake up every day, go to work for, like, 6 to 8 hours, go to night school, do it again the next day. And that's how she makes her money, works on the weekend, saves money aside so she can get off of welfare so she can
it's funny
get
because
a good job.
They proposed to her. They said, now look, what if these benefits just stop rolling in 1 month? Like, what if they just cut you off?
Government doesn't have to do that.
They said, would you go get a job then? And she was like, well, I mean,
how would anybody hire you?
She was like, I guess I would have to. It's like, oh, really? We stopped giving you stuff and then you would have no choice but to go to... Wow, what a fucking concept.
And that helps the economy when people do that stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it gets on a whole sidetrack note about
anyways, this guy's
just the way that government-funded programs
this guy's
are
a fucking dick.
Completely taken advantage of.
What's this guy's name?
This guy, his name was...
Brandon Larry?
Brandon
Fuck
Larry.
you, Brandon Larry.
Brandon Larry, you are everything that's wrong with the student loan program.
Everything's wrong with millennials, Brandon.
And you are absolutely everything that's wrong with millennials. So I hope that you had a terrible time. I hope your view from your hotel room was horrifying. I hope that it was nothing but dirt anthills.
And I hope some angry masturbator breaks your mailbox.
And you know what's going to happen? Let me tell you. This hot girl that he went there with her beautiful bubble ass.
Going to somebody richer.
Once the money dries up, she's gone.
Yep.
She will go find somebody... Because you're not going to have any money when you get out of...
somebody who actually worked it.
So you're not going to have any money when you get out of school.
Yeah.
Like, there's going to be nowhere to turn.
You don't know.
That $2,500 that you took to take this trip is going to turn into $6,000, faster than you even realize, and you're never going to be able to pay it back. And then she's going to be like, wow, I'm with this loser who can't afford anything. I'm going to go over here now because that's how it works. So keep that in the back of your mind, Brandon, Larry.
So what are we doing next week, my fellow golden retriever?
Oh man,
ass putter upper dude.
I really need to get up because this golden retriever is really digging in my ass.
Is he
it's been in there the whole hour.
Yeah. So what are we doing?
So
in
it looks
the
like
upcoming month?
next week we are going to be reviewing Austin's Friday the 13th complete series review, not the TV series, just the complete movie series.
That's right.
Doing a review in the challenge. He has he's almost done. He's got 2 more to watch. And we're going to be talking about there's going to be a blog spot that has all these great rankings of each movie from best to worst. And also we're going to be doing I can't read that, but
the movie we're watching next month?
Oh, Freddy Got Fingered will be the bad movie review next month. So make sure if you haven't seen that in 15 years like me, you might want to rewatch it just so you know what we're talking about. You know, I know Daddy likes some. Would you like some sausage? I remember that.
I remember there was signs, Rip Torn's in it.
Yeah, and he drives a LeBaron. I remember that from the movie.
John Voight.
And also we will be talking about Drunksgiving, the Bad Culture Crew holiday, because we are turning 1 year old next week. I'm so excited. I've never been more excited for a birthday party / awesome holiday party / Friday the 13th debate. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about so much more as the Bad Culture Crew rolls on.
Thank you for listening to Bad Culture Crew. We hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget to check your feed every Thursday for a new episode. Be sure to stay connected with the crew on social media. We're at Bad Culture Crew on Twitter, the Bad Culture Crew Facebook page, and of course on badculturegroupproductions.com. We are pleased to bring you the best of the worst. Because at Bad Culture Crew, we find the terrible so you don't have to.